Well, you screwer, back with you. Something very different today. Not doing the ADSM training today at the School of Underhand Conniving Nats and Backstabbery. I'm actually just outside the studio here of that very popular and successful television program, which is called Nigel's Wax with Fame. Many of you would have watched it. It's the one where Nigel gets on what he calls the amazing, great Australian people. He gets those on as guests, has a chat to them while he's chatting to them. Of course, he constructs a life-like and life-size wax replica of that particular person. So that's what I'll be doing today. Look, I will come clean with the viewers because I've already been very upfront with Nigel and Nigel's people when they contacted me at the School of Underhand Conniving Nats about appearing as a guest on the show, and I initially refused. Since then, because of the Svengali type influence of Mr. Richard Pipe at SUC, I've subsequently been forced to attend the training. If I don't, then I won't be allowed to complete the training, which is very close to completion for the 6 classroom students I have presently undertaking the ADSM training at the School of Underhand Conniving Nats and Backstabbery. So anyway, it might be a chance. I might get a chance to promote the book. I don't know what he's going to ask me. That was the other thing too. He wanted to have a chat. He wanted to have a pre-chat, about which question to ask. And I said, no, I can't be bothered. Let's just do it. Let's just do it cold. So let's do it. Hello, Nigel, back here with Nigel's Wax with Fame. Welcome to this week's episode. We've got a real treat for you with another great, amazing Australian. His name is Hugh Screwer, and he is an icon in the world of ADSMs, particularly in the field of ADSM training, where he trains his introductory course for budding ADSMs at the School of Underhand Conniving Nats and Backstabbery, where he regularly takes in new students and turns them into accomplished ADSMs. In addition to this, he also has his elite training school for ADSMs, which of course is known and very well known worldwide as Top Screw. This Top Screw Elite Training Academy for ADSMs is worldwide recognized as the gold standard for producing ADSMs of high quality. If you see a person, whether they be in private enterprise, whether they be in government, or whether they be maybe just in charge of a group of people in a social club or something, and you think that person is an absolute dickhead, that person in charge, of course, then it's a very good chance that you has trained that person to be that ADSM that they are. If you note that they are really, they've really got an absolute high degree of absolute dickheadedry, then there's every chance that they've graduated from Hugh's elite training academy known as Top Screw. Hugh courts controversy wherever and wherever he goes with his unorthodox yet evidently very effective training methods. Hugh was the first one in the land of ADSM training to introduce the Barnes versus Elias concepts, to introduce each ADSM developing a sophisticated and at the same time very skillful signature walk that would make them stand out wherever they were being an absolute dickhead. supervisor or manager. The well-known, of course, acronym for that is, of course, ADSM. You was the first one to introduce us to the Kilson kick down, kiss up pyramid. He explained to us the Kilson Very Good Boys vendetta incursion and how Gary Kilson had in fact flattened the curve on the number of very good boy inductees needing medical attention because of their ceremonial hazing practices. You was the first one to introduce us to the pretending to care principles of being an ADSM and basically dissecting and analysing such pretending to care modules as Pulse and developing his own much superior pretending to care module known as Heartbeat, of course. I will come clean with you, of course. You is not an easy person to deal with. When my people contacted him and asked him to come on to Nigel's Wax with Fame, he initially refused. But circumstances prevailed and he will be on the show, although he hasn't given me any real indication of his level of cooperation on the show. In fact, when I asked him to basically, if he could come and visit us at the studio, have a couple of hours of cups of tea, coffee and snacks, which I do with all the guests, get to know each other, basically go through the questions that we're going to ask on the show so that he can have ready-made answers. That's what I do with all the guests. That's just, I know we make it out as if they're coming in cold, but that doesn't happen. That wouldn't make very good television at all, really, would it? I mean, if you think that these shows are just all come off the street and, we just have a little chat and things like that, well, you're being a bit naive, aren't we, sort of thing. If you're that naive, you probably think that all those reality TV shows are actually reality and not scripted and edited and highly produced as they actually are. Anyway, so we don't know really what to expect with you coming on. He's right outside at the moment. I've just been given the indication he's outside waiting. But the thing is that, look, he does have a reputation of being, a bit of a wild man, sort of bit of a hell-raising sort of past, a bit of a, Richard Harris, Oliver Reed, even, Russell Crowe type of character. So I might actually start off with asking him about that. He's probably going to try and want to come on and plug the new book he has written and published. So I'll see how that goes. I won't let him just dictate the whole show and talk about his new book. We might as well tell you what his new book is here. Here is his new book that he's written, and it's called... It's by Hugh. He's written and published it himself, and it's called Way of the ADSM, 30 Years of Signature Walking. Okay, well, let's let you into the studio. I've got the wax warming up behind there on the screen where I make the wax replicas of the guests such as you, and let's get you Screw in here now. Yes, come in, you. You Screwer, sit yourself down right there. Hello. Hello, Nigel. Thanks for having me on the show. Hello, you. Welcome to Nigel's Wax with Fame. Yeah, well, I bet you I'm the only person that you've referred to in first name and surname and said, you know, sit yourself down, you screwer, kind of thing. You didn't do that with, say, Jack Thompson, called him Jack, Todd Samson, called Todd, Ray Martin, Ray. The only other one besides me would be Father Bob, because he is known as Father Bob. If you just said Bob, there'd be 4 other people in the room turn around and go, what, me? If you told him Father Bob, he'd turn around. Yeah, so you're just making a bit of fun of my name. That's what it is. Yes, no, you know, we're not here to talk at length about your name. Let's just let that go. Let that go. Just relax, Hugh. Just relax. I like my guests to be relaxed. You don't come across as the most relaxed type of person. You come across as a fairly intense sort of person. A fairly intense sort of person. Probably right there. Now, one thing I will ask you, as it's about this reputation that you had previously as a bit of a wild man type, hellraiser type of person. Do you think that it affected? How did it affect your professional life? Well, did it hold you back? Do you think it hold you back at all, this hell raising? Now, no. No. Well, there you have it. Well, now I'm not going to fall for your ruse. Yes. I'm not going to fall. Well, maybe not such a ruse as a tactic. Yes, look, I have done some research. I have watched several of your ADSOM lessons, which are posted online, where you're doing the ADSOM training at the School of Underhand Conniving, Knacks and Backstabbing. And a recent one I saw was called Lessons and Sins of the Fathers. And in that you were showing the stalling type tactics where people don't want to answer questions, and you do exactly what you are doing now. And I know that one is called, that you're doing now, it's called a Henry Turpentine Hellraiser tactic. You're doing with the pipe. Yes, you're doing with the pipe. And then it's a one, and then after this, you're probably going to just try and Father Stone me the questions. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. You do. Yes, you. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm not going to stand for it. Now, there is another, we've done a bit of research, and I have found out that you have a collection, or you are sort of a collector of shovels. Well, if not a collector, you do have several shovels at home. And yes, we've got a picture up of them now. And I'd just like to ask you, which of these shovels, and we'll get that picture up now, which of these shovels would you say is your favourite? Where did you get those photos of those shovels? That's the place I live. They are my shovels. What? And which of your shovels would you say is the best one to use? The best one to use? Look, I'm not here to talk about my bloody shovels. I don't really care which shovel is best. I want to talk about this, or I'm going to just start Father Stoning you going, no, I'm all right, I'm going to stone it. Well, we're going to keep on talking shovels. We can keep on till the end of the show, right? And that's what we're going to do. If you were going to try and Father Stone me or do that stalling thing you do with the pipe. So, you're very clever of you, Nigel. Okay. True say. Ask me some questions and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay. And we can talk a bit about the book if we get time. I got the wax, I've started, and I shall be going back and forwards like this, and coming out and asking you questions, and then I'll go back, do some more waxing, come out and ask you questions, just let you know, just to make you feel comfortable, just like that. Now I can't let you go, Hugh. A lot of the fans of my show have been emailing me once they knew that you were coming on the show, and they've been the emailing questions they wanted me to ask, and most of them are actually asking, can you ask Hugh if he trained this person, if he trained this person? Obviously they're seeing this person act as an ADSM in whatever capacity they are actually in ADSM, and they wish to know if you trained them, and they want me to ask you on this show whether you trained this ADSM or that ADSM. And probably because of events that have happened this year and for the last few years, the number one person that they want to know, most people want to know, is, did you train the current President of the United States, Donald Trump? Did you? The other thing I'd say about the current President of the United States, like that signature walk he's got, I would regard that as a very weak signature walk, very weak, very weak, not very good at all, and certainly even after probably a few training lessons at the School of Underhand Conniving, Knacks and Backstabbery, I would expect all my students to be demonstrating a signature walk, which is much better than his. Well, I mean, he probably thinks it's good, but he thinks a lot of things are about himself are great and all that sort of stuff. So, but it's certainly not a signature walk that he'd get away with training with you screwer. Certainly not. I mean, he does. Yeah, that regard. No, he does demonstrate. He ticks so many other boxes of being a great ADSM. Yeah, got to give him that. Yeah. Right. Now you had a few issues with coming on the show, did you not? Did you want to explain to the viewers some of your reservations about coming on the show? Yes, you. I'm very busy trying to finish off the this current crop of students to get them through my training course at SAC. It's close to the end, but there's still a lot of work to do, and I'm also preparing for the next intake of students at the elite training school, Top Screw, which I do conduct with my esteemed colleague, Ms. Serendipity Ubiquity. The other reason is I have watched some of your shows, Nigel, and they're a little bit kiss-uppy kind of thing, and I mean, I know that's coming from you, Screwer, who does teach ADSMs, how to kiss up effectively, but you like, and some of the people you have on, like you say, great, amazing Australians. Well, let's get it right out of the picture right away. I mean, I do not regard myself as a great, amazing Australian. I train ADSMs. That's what I do. I mean, is that good for, is it good for people? Is it good for the good for the country. We could have a whole analysis of that sort of thing, but I would definitely not regard myself as a great, amazing Australian. And there's some of the people that I've seen come on your show. I would, in my humble opinion, I would say that some of them are not great Australians. And as I say, your lines of questionings is a little bit kiss-uppy to me, sort of thing. I'd like to read, hear you sort of ask, a few tougher questions. We'll see what you're going to ask. But anyway, and for example, ask tough questions. I saw you had Alan Jones come on your show, and like he, his whole reputation, he gets completely stuck into people who he takes issue with on his broadcasts, broadcasting on radio, and I don't see too much of his television broadcast, but I imagine it's in sort of similar, if probably a little bit more restrained vein for television. I don't see you ask him any tough questions. Well, that was pretty well. I thought that was a token question asking about the chuff bag sort of thing. And numerous people have asked him that one, and he's basically just parried it off very easily, like he did with you, by just saying, I was just a heat of the moment thing, if he had his time over again, just consider rephrasing what he said, sort of thing. But I thought that was pretty. I thought that from what I saw, I didn't stop and watch you complete the whole show, but it looked a bit, you just looked to be kissing up to him. It's TV, I know, and you've got to get people on, and you've got to get them on under certain conditions, right? And I do understand that there would have actually been, like there is for everyone except me, that there's a few hours that you get together beforehand, and even with his people and your people, this question's in, this question's out, this is in, you can talk about this, you can talk about that. Yeah, I sort of get that, but I thought, that particularly with Alan, that you had a chance to sort of, maybe just for a change, just sort of dish it up to him like he's dished it up to many a person. I mean, I'm not saying that every person he has dished it up to hasn't been deserved of it, sort of thing, but I'm just reflecting. It's just my reflections. No, I didn't watch the end of the show. Have you still got Alan's statue here, have you? The wax replica you made. Have you still got it here? Well, if you had have cared to watch right to the end of the show, you would have seen the wax replica that I made of Mr. Alan Jones, and you may not be so quick to judge Nigel. Yes, I have got it. I've got it out the back. All the wax replicas remain the property of the production company which produces Nigel's Wax with Fame. The guests, including yourself, you can commission me to do another replica. I do the replica from the replica, and then you can purchase that from the production company. But if it's not too much trouble, it's in the back room. It's okay. Yep. Show it to me. I have the one I made of Mr. Alan Jones out the back, so I'll just get it for you so that you can have a look at it. That's the wax replica I made of Alan Jones. It's nothing but a big tool. Nothing but a big tool. And yes, it is. Well, I thought that under the circumstances that was warranted. So I'm going to put that back. That should have put your mind at ease. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, well maybe there is there is more to you than meets the eye, Nigel. Mind you, if we do meet again, I sort of might hope that you maybe shirt up a bit, fella, you know, kind of. You know, you're looking a bit bare there. Yeah, I know some of your story, but if you know, I would be quite keen to hear it, you know, straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I know that I'm not saying you look like a horse at all. Funny enough, I did actually see a charity day or something, and you and some other comedian, because I know you used to do stand-up as well. You and this other comedian basically got inside. You had one of those cow suits where you know, one person takes the front and one person takes the back, so that the person at the front's got the two legs and the head, and the person at the back is the front two legs and head. The person at the back has got the cow's two rear legs, rump and tail sort of thing, yeah. And I did see you two having a bit of an argument before, because he was supposed to actually be the rump and tail sort of thing, and you were supposed to be the head, but you at last moment you switched it around, and so you became the cow's backside sort of thing, and he had to take the head, and you insisted on it. You really were an asshole that day, Nigel. You really were an asshole. So well, look, regards to me not wearing a shirt, that's a bit insensitive, you, because I'm sure if you've done a bit of research on me, just like I've done my research on you, then you would know that I wear these particular clothes and a necklace as a tribute to my beloved Hillary, who, you know the story about us growing up on that tropical island together after both our parents were lost at sea in a shipwreck. We stayed on that island, and then at a respectable adolescent age we fell madly in love with one another. Sadly, as you know, one day, while my beloved Hillary was resting in the cool shade of the trees, I was down by the sea, and I was practicing my diving, and I was also practicing what I knew as my walking style. But since watching your videos and watching your You Screwer training videos, I now know it to be my signature walk. So there I was up on the rocks with the sea on one side and the lagoon on another side, and I was practicing what you call signature walking. I was practicing my walking so I could go back and impress my beloved Hillary, and with her ravishing brown eyes and her cute smile. Anyway, when I was practicing my signature walking, my left hand foot came in contact with a loose rock. I fell down into the water, my impact rendering me unconscious. Apparently I was rescued out, I drifted out to sea, and I was rescued by a passing freight carrying boat. It took me 3 days to regain consciousness, and by that time I begged them to go back for my Hillary, but they said that they were almost at their destination and they had no fuel to go back, and they said that as they picked me up out at sea, they did not even know where this island was. Sadly, by the time I had got myself established and had gained some funds to basically commission a rescue mission to go out and search that area there with the help of some expert maritime persons, sadly, when we found the island, Hillary was no longer on that island. I searched for her for years, going place to place, within country to country, never ever really finding her. One day, sadly, sadly, we were at the same restaurant at the same time, but I did not know she was there. She was there, and still as I know it to this day, she made with this man who I only know as Nick, and I know he was some kind of pop or folk singer, and he was at the restaurant at the same time because she apparently was waiting outside, my beloved Hillary. He went up to the jukebox, he put a dime in there, and then he sang. I thought it was quite a silly song, but it did rock out a bit, and he did an even sillier dance on a rug. And I realized at that particular time, I had this realization that no, I already knew how much I loved my beloved Hillary, but I realized then that I was in love with rock and roll as well, and I felt like it was like a put another dime in the jukebox baby moment. Sadly, I had no idea. I only heard later of her presence there. So I continued my search for her, place to place, island to island, to finally I stumbled upon at a windswept, cold, small island off the Irish coast. I stumbled on these free priests living in this presbytery house with the housekeeper, who was kind, if a little, sometimes erratic and irrational, and she kindly kept us in hot cups of tea and many sandwiches. One of the older priests there, who was confined mostly with a chair and had a very limited vocabulary, he produced these enormous mouths of earwax, which they had to syringe out of his ears. And the priests, even though that they were using it for candles and selling some of the candles, he had over the years, enormous amount of wax that they had stored in rooms in this house. I started mucking around, molding the wax, and I realized that I had this talent for making wax. I made wax replicas of the free priests and their kindly housekeeper and all the visitors and passers-by to the area. I even Sinead O'Connor once visited us, and I made a wax replica of Sinead. Who else we had? Donald O'Donnell visited. I made a replica of him. So that's where I started doing this replica, and I've been making wax replicas of people ever since, and it has been kind of therapeutic, and it has given me some distraction from finding my beloved Hillary, although I probably will still continue to search for her. So that explains that to Nick. So I think you're being a little bit insensitive to me to tell me to shut up, Mr. Screwer. Yes. Yes. Well, I'm just about the stage where, I just need to, maybe half an hour to sort of finish off, the finer details of your wax replica, and while you go out and walk around and take in the sights around the studio here, I'll finish off. You. Yeah, no, Nigel, I'm not going anywhere. I have seen that on your show. I've seen it on your show where you basically say, yeah, just go for a walk around the block for half an hour and come back, and I'll finish off your wax replica of yourself, your life-size wax replica. Well, how do they know? How do they know they're taking a walk around the block for half an hour or going and get a cup of coffee or something? How do they know? Because that screen there, you can't really see what you've done. How do people know that you don't just get other artists in to finish off the wax thing? They might be doing most of the work, and in fact, in that half hour, you might get several people in, and then they come back and you go, oh, look, I've finished this and I've done this for you, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not doing it. I'm staying here. I'm staying here. So I'm not doing it. 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 I'm not doing Yeah, well, okay, yeah, we can shut up and we can cut this bit out while you go and work away for half an hour. But the thing is, what we're going to do is, when you show me that finished wax dummy, right? So this is what people know that's going out. I will exclaim the words, Nigel did that all himself. So for people watching this at home, if I don't say Nigel did that all himself, you know that Nigel is a bit of a fake. That you're a bit of a fraud, Nigel, yeah. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. So, yeah, I'll just sit here. Yeah, don't let me stop you from finishing off the wax replica. You're not going to go anywhere. Well, you are being quite difficult, you are being quite a screwer. That is the format of the show. Everybody else complies with it. Yes, you say nobody screws with you. Yes, that is a bit predictable, but oh, you just sit there. I will go back here and I'll work away behind the screen for half an hour. No, I know you can't come around and look, and that is pure. I'll prove to you that is pure fiction that I basically tell people to go away so that I can get other people in to actually finish off the wax replicas. I'll prove it to you, and yes, you can say those words and that will prove to all the viewers of this. Yes, okay. Yes. Just be quiet back there, you, because I want complete, I want to work in complete silence for half an hour, because otherwise it'll take longer to get the job done. Okay. Yes, I've now finished your wax replica, and you've been here the whole time, so I don't think that we need for you to say that it was all his work. It was all my work. I've slaved away for the last half hour working on your wax replica. Thanks for being quiet, because I really needed to pay attention to get those finer details done, especially around your nose. Have to get your crooked nose right, and your beady eyes, and the bags under your eyes as well. So, anyway, it's all my own work on Nigel's Wax of Fame. Thank you for watching. What do you think? I'll bring out your wax replica from behind the screen. I will ask you to just spare me the courtesy of closing your eyes while I bring it out. No, you stay where you are. It's not heavy, remember they're wax, so I'll bring it out. I'll bring it out myself, and then you can assess it, but I hope it's done justice to the iconic you screwer. So just stay there, you, and close your eyes, and I'll bring out your wax replica. Okay, let's have a look. Well, you've put me, it bears some resemblance to me, of course. It's the right size and everything. Got my body size, body shape right. Head's about right. But, why have you got me wearing a suit, why can you just did me in, say, these clothes or a pair of shorts or something, and you could have put me, why couldn't I be, stepping out into one of my signature walk strides or a stance, a signature stance or something like that. And me sort of looking at a book, and I've got glasses on. What's all that about? I'm not really fussed on it at all, Nigel. It's not really capturing, I don't think, the essence of you screwer, which I thought, well, that's what you're trying to do. That's what you rave on with all the other people that I've watched. Is and they go, you've captured my essence. Captured that and that. I don't think you've really captured me there, Nigel. That's the thing. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it is my book. I mean, it is my book, and I do thank you for plugging my book and letting me have a little bit of a plug of my book on your show. But it's not really what I was. It's not what I hoped it would be. But yeah, good marks for effort though. Yeah, I'll give you that. Well, anyway, comes to that part of the show where both the guest and Nigel, wax on about, how enjoyable it's being on the show and all that, for being enjoyable for me, being enjoyable for him, blah, blah, blah. So, look, I enjoyed being on the show a lot more than I thought I was. I didn't enjoy it that much, but much more than I thought I would. As I said, I was going to basically come along and just sort of stonewall the questions using, maybe some Father Stone, or what I was using initially was using that Henry type of time Hellraiser thing with the pipe, to effectively just stonewall the questions, not answer them. But I do grudgingly like how Nigel managed somehow to get hold of some photos or video footage of my shovels at where I live, and he's going to talk about shovels for the whole show, ask me questions about shovels unless I started playing ball with him and answer some of the questions. So that's, if you're watching this on the playback, Nigel, that I've got a dirty pool, old man, but I like it. I mean, I am you screwer after all. I thought that was pretty good. I do have a lot more respect for Nigel since coming on the show. He seems, when you see him on the show, he seems to have this, the way he's dressed seems to have this sort of weird, Blue Lagoon type trip going on sort of thing. But, after explaining to me, about what's, the events that have happened in his life, he's had quite a life of it, that's for sure. And I have actually spoken to my esteemed colleague, Miss Serendipity Ubiquity, because of the extent of contacts in many fields, including the entertainment field, and she's already sort of started to put in motion some inquiries to see if we can track down this man Nick, who Nigel's Hillary was last travelling with. So I do hope that something transpires positively out of that for Nigel. I probably a bit hastily accused him, of doing a big kissing up job on Alan Jones, but it seems from what he showed me, from what he produced on that show, how Nigel handled it in the end was that he seemed to have actually taken Mr. Jones down a peg or two. So yeah, I had more respect for him. I wouldn't mind meeting Nigel again. In summary, I think Nigel's a nice boy, and I think he loves to speak, and he loves to be spoken to. I just hope that Nigel is happy in his world. So anyway, look, I'd just like to stay and chat on about this, but the old clock on my phone says that there's only 37 minutes to go till. Anyway, be good. Now we have come to the end of our show. I have put the wax replica of Mr. Hugh's screwer in temporary storage. All of my wax replicas are then transported after each show to a secure, fireproof, locked down area where they are stored for prosperity I was not very impressed with Mr. Hugh Screwer's critique of my wax replica of himself, given the amount of effort I put into coming up with such a detailed copy of Mr. Hugh Screwer. But I guess that is just him. He seemed to live up to his name and reputation in that he was a real screwer. He was difficult with a capital D and sometimes painful with a big P. But nevertheless, I do have some grudging respect for Mr. Hugh Screwer. He has agreed to enlist the talents and abilities of his esteemed colleague, Ms. Serendipity Ubiquity, who has many contacts in the entertainment industry, and she is going to try and help me to find this man, Nick, as in the knights who say Nick, and that will hopefully lead to me finding my beloved Hillary once again. So I do have respect for him. It's also I have respect for the way that he sees the world, like I see with Mr. say Donald Trump, where you have said, well, he ticks all the boxes of having the traits of being very successful, handsome, but Hugh Screwer says that Mr. Trump's signature walk is very weak, and it was not a signature walk of sufficient standard to even pass through the early stages of Mr. Hugh Screwer's ADSOM training at SUC. Only Mr. Hugh Screwer, I think, could see the world in that way, which is quite ironic that he finds Mr. Trump's signature walk very weak, given that Mr. Trump, everything wet, he tries to always give this impression of strength, no matter what. And yet, here is Mr. Hugh Screwer, the most renowned trainer of ADSOMs certainly in the English-speaking world, and he's described his signature walk as a very weak one. Okay, so I'm not sure. I'm probably going to stop doing the waxing just for a certain amount of time and put more efforts into finding my beloved Hillary, pending what information can be gleaned from the knowledge and contacts of Serendipity Ubiquity. So, Nigel, waxing off for quite a while, I would think now. Goodbye. That's nice.